Hi, I thought I'd do a reading about Paris Hilton's new marriage with, I think his name is Carter. And yeah, because I saw a little clip from, I guess, their reality show that uh, was around the theme of them getting married and stuff. Anyway, and so just me personally not doing a reading or whatever when during the wedding ceremony when he said like it was that legally binding, and then I and then like that he was like kind of groomzilla or what you know what it like has a controlling nature, and then also when he talked about like the kids and having them like like the sort of science aspect of like the control energy of like how to create these kids and stuff like uh yeah, just sort of like rang some alarm bells in my mind like about like that his motives were not like out of unconditional love, like they were very conditional. It's like, is this legally binding, and it's like I want it to be this way, and then on top of that it seemed like Paris was like her instincts were telling her like something was off, and that possibly like because of the nature of his mood at the time or whatever, or his personality, whatever it is, like there was no allowance for like taking a break or backing out, or like if like I didn't watch the entire show, so like there there might have been some informative scenes or whatever, but like just in general, like it seems like she was going through like a very vulnerable phase. It was right after her documentary came out, and that's around the time that they like formed their relationship. But like a lot of the time, like narcissists, prey on like weak empaths, like or empaths like at their weak point, even if they're strong people, and because they like to control, so yeah, and I don't get the impression that he would just like marry whoever, like but I do get the impression, and I could be wrong, but I get the impression that Paris would marry for love, and that person wouldn't have to be necessarily rich. um so I'm just gonna like do, see what I pick up. Yeah, it's like when I think of Carter, it's like his teeth are kind of gritting. Like there's this sense of control, like I was talking about, to the point where he's like holding back what he really wants to say a lot of the time. Um, like to the point where he's like really angry about it, and but he knows that he has to have a certain polish to like make things good work with Paris. I feel like Paris is sort of caught in sort of like another dimension, like where like somewhere between dream and reality, which is like maybe when you're under severe stress, like you kind of run to your lighter energies, or your what people call your imagination, but like that's also part of you. It's just like a lighter form of you, where there's more freedom and there's more love there too. So it's sort of like running to your spirit guides, or like that kind of zone where it feels safer than the 3D world and stuff. It's like she's in shock or something. Yeah, and I feel the presence of like lawyers. Like if it's almost like Carter in the background, maybe like made sort of like penciled in, like okay, these would be my lawyers if we were to split, or like even though they haven't been married for very long, I get was it in February? I don't know, like it was recent. Um, or I don't know when it was. It was no, it was like oh they did like 11/11 or yeah, it was in November. So um, it hasn't been a year, let's say. So I think like if she were to change her mind, his whatever his lawyers could do couldn't really amount to like that much because not that much time has passed, and so okay. Honestly, I have like like I think that I really like some aspects of Paris's story, and she seems to have a nice character and like whatever I'm saying in this reading isn't meant to be like critical or like I'm really gonna try to aim for like what is a good outcome for her. Um, so if I'm calling things out, if I see them, like it's more just like to shine a light on stuff and to make it easier to move in the direction of greater peace for her. Is okay. But I do get there's I feel like Carter has like some tendencies to hide uh, some truths. Um, I just feel like he has this like negative alliance with someone that maybe at one time was romantic, but like is sort of like you know how like when guys get together and they like brag, but then they when they see their girlfriend, they're like they seem like weaker than their girlfriend, but like they have on like a sort of secretly like trash talking, not you know what I mean, like that kind of thing, like where there's two sides to him, but she's just seeing that one side. And I feel like just like he announced like during the wedding ceremony, like is is her saying like yes, like make it legally binding. Like if someone loves you, like they wouldn't yell that out in a wedding ceremony unless the first thing in their mind was financial stability and like closing the deal, as it were. Like, and the phrase "closing the deal" felt really channeled. Like, so that's like seems even more true. Like, it's a merger. In his mind, it's like one of the best mergers he's ever done, or like if he's a salesman or something like that. Whereas I really feel like Paris could fall in love with someone she met camping, or like if she even likes camping, like camping in a nice place. Whatever. Um, there isn't this idea of like acquiring someone for their portfolio or something like that. Like it's almost a testament to what a nice person she is that she has like turned a blind eye to a lot of these red flags, including like during the wedding ceremony. But it's not like you don't then have to assign yourself like a lifetime of service to this person. You can go like, wow, okay, like so that's what it's like to get married. So that's what it's like to get married to possibly like the wrong person. It's like the Peggy Lee song, like, is that all there is to a fire, like, and you just kind of learn and move on and become more uh, clear on what you want and what you don't want and stuff like that. And it doesn't mean like they don't have a real friendship, but like, was perhaps their friendship based on her being like very weak at the time? And also, like, I saw this quiz of the two of them, and like, they both said that like she was a better kisser than him, and it's like, do you want to marry someone who's not like, a good kisser. I don't know if it matters to you. Like, I don't know. There's stuff like marrying your best friend, or I don't know. But like, do you want to marry your best friend, or do you want to marry someone who's like you're extremely attracted to and passionate about, that like that passion is its own battery that makes the relationship last a lifetime, and um, instead of like a sensible choice, let's say, like it's like it's like an arranged marriage that like, but she was the grandmother and the bride, or something like that, like and it seemed also like the stuff she said seemed kind of fear-based. It's like, oh, I don't want to be alone. It's like, well, there's more than one guy in the world. Like, you could be more specific about like all the things that you want. And in terms of Carter, he needs to have 2020 vision on himself, and like what drives a person to say during a wedding ceremony, like, is that legally binding? It's like a person who's in love, like unconditionally, would let her be her during the ceremony, and like maybe afterwards, like they could say like, was that even real? And then like if it mattered to both of them, they could like get married again to at the courthouse or something, to like make it real, instead of having this pressure like during the ceremony to get his lawyers to say like, yes, yes. It's like, it's official, like she's stuck with you now, like it you know like, no one is a failure if a marriage fails. It's just like everybody's you know loved by God and given like a chance to refine themselves like more clearly towards their purpose and stuff. And it's, if it's the case that like Carter is holding Paris back in some way, or defining her by his choices, like he could be actually preventing her from her like greatest like gift, that like her greatest soul purpose, which would be a shame, because like a lot of like kind of seductive or seemingly helpful people come into your life at certain points to almost derail you from doing your purpose and stuff. And you have to be very conscious of that. It's like, to not fall for like the trap or whatever. And it's anyway, so just like just as me as a person, like I'm not feeling their union. But then also like psychically, I feel like he has a lot of secrets. He does a lot of like advanced strategy with lawyers, or like what if scenarios involving her, which I think if she knew about that, like would make her mad or feel sad or like do something about it. But I don't know if you know, in a way, like she's moved through some of these difficult sort of what you could call hiccups, like with a lot of grace in the past. And it's like, well, she could also deal with this hiccup with a lot of grace too. Like, just make sure that you're safe, because who knows? Because I do feel like he has a temper. Like I was saying, I was feeling him like gritting his teeth and holding back a lot of rage. So he may have the, even though he seems kind of like speaks with a gentle voice or something like that, like he can still have rage. Like I'm just gonna look at the energies again. I mean, I pick up on her sister's energy, and I feel like her sister really embraces like stability and status quo, so she wouldn't be like pro her breaking it up, because she doesn't like the boat to be rocked or whatever. The mom seems to have a limited capacity for empathy, Um, so she's not really going to be someone that Paris can lean on in terms of making a very important decision. You know, truly, it's a conversation that Paris has to have with Paris. Like, if she really loves herself, really has her own back, like she has in the past, it's like if everything has sucked before, she's managed to just go, like, pull out her butterfly wings and say, like, no, like, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna enjoy my life. I'm gonna make things beautiful despite whatever plans you guys have. And I think this is like the ultimate test, because like maybe never before like had a guy been like, I do want to have kids with you, and like that's too tempting for her because she like wants to do that. But it's possible that had she said no to someone she wasn't 100% feeling, like the right guy would have been like there right after as a prize, like that spirit would give her for passing a test of self-confidence. And I'm not saying like that ship has sailed or whatever, but like honestly, unconditional love, like if Carter really loved her, he wouldn't have like interrupted her in the wedding ceremony. He wouldn't be like saying, okay, we're gonna like get rid of your private disco and we're gonna sanitize your life. Like, the shit's it's scary. Like, sorry, I used a swear word, but it's like it's scary when someone just comes in and like does a redo on you when she was doing like just fine, thank you. And it's like, if anything, he might be hurting her brand by making her like less expressive, like more conservative, because like he needs her to be a certain way. But it's like maybe he needs to like turn around and walk out the door, like go be conservative somewhere else, you know? Okay, so I'm just gonna. I don't really like hanging out in his energy, really, but I'll look again to see what I see. I just like. I. I just feel like he's a very insincere person, very like manipulative, and that she's like met her match, like her greatest opponent, let's say, and that she needs to like call in like her angelic team and like her, and connect with God and just go like, okay, let's figure this out together. Carter needs to go see a psychiatrist and talk about like, or a psychologist or something, and talk about why he needs to control Paris's life so much, and like why this merger was so important to him, and like examine like the flaws and like his that unconditional love doesn't play a part in this, and that's the only acceptable kind of love. Like, that's the only love that you should marry for, not like a business merger. Because like if you're doing something out of greed, God has a way of like taking everything away from you to teach you a lesson because you did it from the wrong place. So while someone might think like I created, like if I had a mountain and I created a double mountain, then both mountains are gonna come crumbling down, like, because it's not of God, like it's out of fear, it's out of control, and those are like the opposite energies. So it's really like what some people perceive as like a smooth move, like is just welcoming destruction, So yeah, like I just 100% don't feel good about Carter's energy in terms of Paris. I feel like Paris will have to like do this act of faith by herself, like, and this is a lesson about eliminating all codependence in her life and realizing her strength and her connection with God is like enough, and that that will guide her to the right thing, and to not live in fear, and to not let someone control you. Like, if you see life as like a series of like ninja kind of challenges, this is a big one for her, I feel. And it doesn't involve like getting together with the girls over tea and talking it over. It's 100% between her and her maker, like, and her just like standing in her power, using her intuition, making good decisions out of love for herself. Because someone very like adept at finding like a deal, like, you know what I mean, like, you know, when the housing prices go down because like there was like a financial depression, like in a way, like she was going through a bit of a depression, and he's like, oh, I can pick up this property for less effort, you know, than I would if things were going well for her. Like, I really feel like that sense of manipulation on his part. Like, I think if she spent like a couple days alone and really like gathered her strength and like just asked herself some important questions and what she wants to do moving forward, I do feel like she'll be safe. But she needs to like not ask anyone's opinion,